The sky over Haven was painted in ominous hues of orange and red, the air thick with the acrid smell of burning metal and scorched earth. Captain Emma Harrington stood atop the crumbling remnants of a once mighty wall, her sharp eyes scanning the horizon. The ground beneath her trembled with the distant rumble of Varkari war machines, drawing closer with every passing second. The fall of Haven was imminent. "Captain, we need you at the command center." Sergeant David Kim's voice crackled over the comm, barely audible over the cacophony of explosions and gunfire. Emma descended swiftly, her combat boots kicking up dust and debris. She navigated through the chaos with practiced ease, her mind racing with strategies to delay the inevitable. As she entered the command center, the tension was palpable. Soldiers and civilians alike scrambled to gather supplies and arm themselves for the final defense. "Status report," Emma demanded, her voice steady despite the fear gnawing at her insides. "Varkari forces have breached the outer perimeter. We're outnumbered and outgunned," David replied, his face grim. "We have to evacuate now." Emma nodded, her jaw set with determination. "Where's Dr. Patel?" "She's in the lab, finishing the data transfer. We can't leave without her," David said. Emma turned to a nearby soldier. "Get a team and secure the lab. We move out in 5 minutes." As the soldier hurried away, Emma's thoughts drifted to the people she was sworn to protect. Haven had been their sanctuary, a beacon of hope in a world gone mad. Now, it was on the brink of annihilation. She couldn't let despair take hold. She moved through the chaotic corridors, past makeshift barricades and hastily packed bags. The sight of children clutching their parents' hands and elderly citizens helping each other through the turmoil fueled her resolve. She found Dr. Maya Patel in the lab, her fingers flying over the keyboard as she transferred crucial research data to a portable drive. "Maya, we need to go," Emma urged. Maya looked up, her eyes filled with a mix of fear and determination. "Just a few more seconds. This data could be our only chance." Emma nodded, placing a reassuring hand on her shoulder. "We'll make it, I promise." As the data transfer completed, an explosion rocked the facility, the shockwave throwing them both to the ground. Alarms blared, and the lights flickered ominously. Emma helped Maya to her feet, and they raced towards the evac point. Outside, the situation was dire. Varkari soldiers, towering and clad in impenetrable armor, advanced relentlessly. Human defenders fought bravely, but it was a losing battle. Emma and Maya reached the evac zone, where Tariq Hassan was loading supplies into an armored transport. "Get in!" Tariq shouted over the noise, his face smeared with dirt and sweat. Emma helped Maya into the transport and turned to find Ellie Turner, the young girl who had been a beacon of hope with her mysterious abilities. Ellie stood nearby, her eyes wide with a distant, otherworldly focus. "Ellie, come on!" Emma called out. Ellie blinked, her gaze snapping back to the present. She hurried over, clutching a small bag. "I saw it, Emma. A vision. There's still hope." Emma didn't have time to ask for details. She ushered Ellie into the transport and climbed in after her. David slammed the door shut as the vehicle roared to life, its engine straining against the onslaught outside. As they sped away from Haven, the sight of their home engulfed in flames etched itself into Emma's memory. The fortress, once a symbol of humanity's resilience, was now a testament to their struggle for survival. Emma swore silently that their sacrifice would not be in vain. They would fight on. They would endure, and one day they would reclaim their world. Chapter 2. The Journey Begins. The armored transport hurtled through the wasteland, its engine a constant growl against the eerie silence of the devastated landscape. Inside, the group huddled together, each lost in their thoughts. Captain Emma Harrington sat at the front, her eyes scanning the barren horizon through the small viewport. The memories of Haven's fall weighed heavily on her, but there was no time for grief. Their mission was too important. Sergeant David Kim broke the silence. "We need to plan our next move. The Varkari won't stop until they've hunted us down." Emma nodded. "Our destination is the underground research facility in the Rockies. Dr. Patel, how long will it take to complete the weapon once we're there?" Dr. Maya Patel, still shaken from the escape, took a deep breath. "If everything is intact, I should be able to finish it in a few days, but we need to be cautious. The Varkari have likely anticipated our move." Tariq Hassan, seated near the back, spoke up. "I've been thinking about our route. The main roads are too dangerous. We should stick to the back roads and avoid major settlements. It might take longer, but it's our best shot at avoiding detection." Emma considered his suggestion. "Agreed. We'll need to scavenge for supplies along the way. Keep an eye out for anything useful." Ellie Turner, the youngest member of the group, had been silent, her eyes distant. She looked up, her voice soft but clear. "I had another vision. We're being watched, but there's a place up ahead where we can rest and gather what we need. It's hidden, a small underground bunker." Emma met her gaze, searching for any signs of doubt. Ellie had proven her worth with her visions, but relying on them was always a gamble. "How far?" "Not far. We should reach it by nightfall," Ellie replied. David nodded. "We trust you, Ellie. Let's make it there and regroup." The journey continued, the landscape a blur of ruined buildings and scorched earth. As the sun began to set, casting long shadows across the wasteland, they approached a cluster of dilapidated structures. Ellie directed them towards what appeared to be an old warehouse. Inside, concealed beneath debris, was a hidden trapdoor leading to the bunker. Emma and David led the way, descending into the darkness. The bunker was cramped but secure, stocked with long-abandoned supplies. As the group settled in, the tension began to ease slightly. They lit a small makeshift stove and shared a sparse meal. Around the flickering light, the group talked, their voices low and subdued. Maya explained more about the weapon, a device designed to disrupt the Varkari's advanced technology, giving humanity a fighting chance. Tariq worked on salvaging parts from the bunker's old machinery, hoping to repair and enhance their equipment. Ellie sat quietly, her eyes closed as if in a trance. Suddenly, she spoke, her voice urgent. "They're closer than we thought. We need to move by dawn." Emma's heart sank. "Are you sure?" Ellie nodded, her eyes opening to reveal a look of certainty. "Yes. They're searching for us, and they're not far behind." Emma stood, her resolve hardening. "All right, we rest for a few hours, then we move. Stay alert, and be ready to leave at first light." As the group settled down to rest, Emma took the first watch, her thoughts racing. The journey ahead was fraught with danger, but she knew they had to succeed. The fate of humanity depended on them. She glanced at her companions, their faces drawn with exhaustion and determination. They were all that stood between survival and extinction. As the first light of dawn crept into the bunker, Emma roused the group. They gathered their belongings and prepared to move out. The road ahead was long and perilous, but together they would face whatever challenges came their way. Emma felt a renewed sense of purpose. They had a mission, a chance to turn the tide, and she would see it through to the end. Chapter 3. The Road of Trials. The first rays of dawn cast a pale light over the barren landscape as the group emerged from the hidden bunker. The air was crisp with the promise of a new day, but the tension was palpable. They knew the Varkari were closing in, their relentless pursuit a constant threat. With Ellie leading the way, they set out along the back roads, sticking to the shadows and avoiding any signs of civilization. Every sound was amplified, every rustle of leaves or distant rumble of engines setting their nerves on edge. As they traveled, Maya and Tariq scoured the abandoned buildings for supplies, scavenging whatever they could find. Food, water, ammunition, all were essential for their survival. Emma and David kept watch, their eyes scanning the horizon for any signs of danger. Hours passed in tense silence, broken only by occasional whispers and the crunch of gravel beneath their boots. Ellie, ever watchful, remained focused, her gaze fixed on the path ahead. Suddenly, she stopped, her hand raised in a silent gesture for the group to halt. Her eyes closed, her brow furrowed in concentration. After a moment, she spoke, her voice barely a whisper. "They're close. We need to take cover." Emma nodded, her senses on high alert. "Find us a safe spot, Ellie." With a sense of urgency, Ellie led them off the road and into the cover of dense foliage. They crouched low, their hearts pounding in their chests as they waited, breathless, for the danger to pass. Minutes stretched into eternity, the tension thick in the air. Then, in the distance, they heard it, the low hum of Varkari engines. Closer and closer they came, until finally the sound faded into the distance, swallowed by the vast expanse of the wasteland. Relief washed over the group, but they knew they couldn't let their guard down. The Varkari were relentless, their search for the survivors unending. As they resumed their journey, Emma felt a sense of grim determination settle over her. They were facing insurmountable odds, but they had come too far to turn back now. The fate of humanity rested on their shoulders, and they would not falter. With each step, the landscape changed, the ruins of civilization giving way to untamed wilderness. The road ahead was long and treacherous, but they pressed on, their resolve unshakable. As night fell once more, they made camp in a secluded clearing, their weary bodies craving rest. Around the flickering fire, they shared a meager meal, their voices hushed with weariness and the weight of their journey. As they settled in for the night, Emma's thoughts turned to the challenges that lay ahead. The road of trials stretched out before them, fraught with danger and uncertainty. But they were not alone. Together, they would face whatever came their way, united in their quest to reclaim their world. With that thought in mind, Emma closed her eyes, exhaustion pulling her into the embrace of sleep. Tomorrow would bring new challenges, but for now, they were safe. And for now, that was enough. Chapter 4. The Descent. Dawn broke over the horizon, casting a golden glow over the rugged landscape. The group stirred from their restless sleep, the fire reduced to smoldering embers. Emma rose first, her muscles stiff from the previous day's journey. She stretched, the weight of their mission heavy on her shoulders. "We need to keep moving," she announced, her voice cutting through the quiet morning air. As they packed up their camp, Emma studied the map, plotting their route to the underground research facility in the Rockies. It was still a long way off, but they had no choice but to press on. "We need to reach the facility as soon as possible," Maya said, her tone grave. "Every moment we delay is a moment the Varkari get closer to finding us." Emma nodded, her jaw set with determination. "Agreed. Let's move out." With Ellie leading the way, they set off once more, their pace steady and relentless. The road stretched out before them, winding through rocky terrain and dense forests. They encountered few signs of life, the silence of the wilderness broken only by the occasional cry of a bird or the rustle of leaves in the breeze. As they traveled, Emma couldn't shake the feeling of being watched. She scanned the surrounding landscape, her senses on high alert. The Varkari were out there somewhere, hunting them like prey. Suddenly, Ellie stopped in her tracks, her head cocked to one side as if listening for something. Emma approached her, her heart pounding in her chest. "What is it?" she whispered. Ellie closed her eyes, her brow furrowed in concentration. After a moment, she spoke, her voice barely above a whisper. "They're near. We need to take cover." Emma's heart sank. The Varkari had found them, their relentless pursuit closing in. With a sense of urgency, she signaled for the group to take cover, ducking behind a cluster of boulders. They waited in tense silence, their breaths coming in shallow gasps. Minutes stretched into eternity, the sound of their pounding hearts echoing in their ears. Then they heard it, the unmistakable sound of Varkari footsteps, growing louder with each passing moment. Emma gripped her weapon tightly, her knuckles turning white with tension. The footsteps drew closer, until finally they were upon them. Emma held her breath, her finger poised on the trigger. And then, just as suddenly as they had come, the footsteps faded into the distance, swallowed by the vast expanse of the wilderness. Relief washed over the group, but they knew they couldn't let their guard down. The Varkari were still out there, searching for them with unwavering determination. As they resumed their journey, Emma felt a sense of grim resolve settle over her. The road ahead was long and treacherous, but they would not falter. They had come too far to turn back now. With each step, they drew closer to their destination, their determination unwavering. The descent into darkness was inevitable, but they would face it together, united in their quest to reclaim their world. And so they pressed on, their spirits unbroken, despite the trials that lay ahead. For they knew that no matter how dark the road may be, there was always hope on the horizon. Chapter 5. The Final Stand. The journey had been long and arduous, but the group finally stood at the foot of the underground research facility, nestled deep within the Rockies. The towering cliffs loomed overhead, casting ominous shadows over the desolate landscape. Emma could feel the weight of their mission pressing down on her, the fate of humanity resting on their shoulders. "We're here," she said, her voice tinged with both relief and apprehension. Maya nodded, her expression grave. "Let's not waste any time. We need to get inside and finish the weapon before the Varkari catch up to us." With a sense of urgency, they made their way to the entrance of the facility, the heavy blast doors looming before them like a fortress gate. Tariq worked quickly to bypass the security systems, his fingers flying over the keypad with practiced ease. The doors slid open with a hiss, revealing the dark interior of the facility. Emma led the way, her weapon at the ready, as they ventured deeper into the labyrinthine corridors. The air was stale and musty, the only sound the echo of their footsteps against the cold metal floor. They reached the central lab, where Maya wasted no time in getting to work. She powered up the consoles, her fingers dancing across the screens as she accessed the research data stored within. "We don't have much time," Maya said, her voice tense. "The Varkari could be on our doorstep any minute now." Emma nodded, her gaze sweeping the room for any signs of danger. "We'll hold them off for as long as we can. Just get that weapon up and running." As Maya worked, Emma stationed the others at strategic points throughout the facility, their weapons at the ready. The minutes ticked by slowly, each one feeling like an eternity as they waited for Maya to finish her work. Finally, with a triumphant cry, Maya announced that the weapon was ready. Emma wasted no time in deploying it, the device humming to life as it began to emit a powerful energy field designed to disrupt the Varkari's advanced technology. Outside, the air crackled with energy as the Varkari forces closed in. Emma and her team stood their ground, their weapons trained on the entrance as they prepared for the final showdown. And then they came, wave after wave of Varkari soldiers, their armor gleaming in the dim light of the facility. Emma and her team fought with everything they had, their determination unwavering, even as the odds stacked against them. But just when it seemed like all hope was lost, the tide began to turn. The Varkari, their technology rendered useless by Maya's weapon, faltered in the face of humanity's resilience. With a final, desperate push, Emma and her team drove the Varkari forces back, sending them fleeing into the darkness. The facility echoed with the sounds of victory as Emma and her team emerged triumphant. As the dust settled and the adrenaline faded, Emma allowed herself a moment of relief. They had done it. They had defeated the Varkari and secured humanity's future. But even as she basked in their hard-won victory, Emma knew that their fight was far from over. The road ahead would be long and fraught with danger, but as long as they stood together, humanity would endure. And so, with their heads held high and their spirits unbroken, Emma and her team prepared to face whatever challenges the future may hold. For they knew that through fire and fury, humanity would always prevail. Chapter 6. Victory and Aftermath. The echoes of battle faded into the stillness of the underground research facility as Emma and her team caught their breath. The air was thick with exhaustion and relief, their faces streaked with sweat and grime. Outside, the sun began to rise over the horizon, casting a warm glow over the desolate landscape. "We did it," Maya said, her voice barely above a whisper. "We actually did it." Emma nodded, a sense of pride swelling in her chest. "We couldn't have done it without all of you. Every one of you played a crucial role in this victory." Tariq clapped Emma on the shoulder, a grin spreading across his face. "Well, I don't know about you, but I could use a hot meal and a warm bed right about now." The others laughed, the tension of the past few days finally beginning to lift. They gathered their belongings and made their way out of the facility, the morning sun washing over them like a blessing. As they emerged into the light, they were greeted by a sight that filled them with hope, the remnants of humanity, emerging from hiding to celebrate their newfound freedom. They cheered and embraced, their faces lit up with joy and relief. But amidst the celebration, there was also mourning. They had lost friends and loved ones in the battle against the Varkari, sacrifices that would never be forgotten. Emma bowed her head in a moment of silence, honoring the fallen, and vowing to carry on their legacy. As the day wore on, Emma and her team joined the survivors in rebuilding their world. Together they cleared away the wreckage of the past and laid the foundation for a new future. It was hard work, but they were determined to create a world where humanity could thrive once more. In the days and weeks that followed, news of their victory spread far and wide, inspiring hope in the hearts of people everywhere. Emma and her team became symbols of resilience and courage, their names whispered in awe and reverence. But for Emma, the true victory lay not in the praise of others, but in the knowledge that they had made a difference. They had stood against impossible odds and emerged victorious, proving that through fire and fury, humanity would always endure. And as she looked out over the horizon, her heart filled with hope for the future. For though their journey had been dark and fraught with peril, they had emerged stronger and more united than ever before. And so, with the sun setting on the horizon and the promise of a new day dawning, Emma and her team stood together, ready to face whatever challenges the future may hold. For they knew that as long as they stood united, humanity would always prevail. And so, their journey continued, a testament to the indomitable spirit of mankind and the enduring power of hope. Power of hope. Power of hope. Power of